to emphasize right now at the beginning of our retreat is if you don't already have this in your experience, to begin to find out how to cultivate trusting the natural alignment of your being. It's probably the most important and the most difficult and the simplest thing on this path of healing and transformation. We're so conditioned to get things to happen, to do things, to accomplish things. It's almost like a force of our nature that is completely, deeply unconscious and habitual. So it requires a conscious effort to swim against that current. We call it practice, where you simply and gently bring yourself back to the present moment. However it is comfortable for you to do that. Whether it is you just open your eyes and actually see who you're looking at, or sense what's happening in your body or in your emotional realm, or you allow yourself to just breathe and let your breath relax you. And I really encourage you to unplug from phone, internet, and all of the ways that we are stimulated and distracted. It's very healing to take a break from that, and can be very, very wonderful. It might be anxiety producing as well, if it's a very strong habit, but let that be part of your practice of learning to trust the natural alignment of your being. When we come together like this, it's almost like we're an orchestra. And it kind of self-tunes itself as a group energy, and it can become very intense. It can become very powerful, a really strong, energetic force field. And as you become more familiar with that, you really learn how to align with that and let that resource facilitate your inner transformation. It's one of the great benefits of having retreat at this level. And also within yourself, you are like an orchestra of countless musicians that are completely out of sync and out of tune and have no idea what music is going to be playing. And you learn to tune into and align with that mysterious conductor of your being. And when you do align with that and you trust and open to that, something in you will begin to experience profoundly peace and openness and vastness of being. So there's not only the external so-called alignment that we discover with others and with the sort of world, as it were, around, but also internally, as it were. And ultimately, there's no separation. And that's not some cool concept to believe in or hold on to. That's just my own particular description of how it is for me. You may have your own description of how it is for you. And what that brings up is an important point, that whatever you have learned, whatever you have read, or believed about your own experience and your own process, I really encourage you to let go of as much of that as you can, so that you can cultivate an open mind, an open body, and an open heart, so that your being, your spirit, your presence can really begin to come into the foreground. And when it does, in those moments or in those periods, you are truly happy and truly at peace. So, you have it all within you, the resources that you need to find your way. And the trusting process that I'm talking about is a learning process for most people. Some people have it naturally and intuitively, and they're very fortunate. But most of us are pretty heavily conditioned, even traumatized to a wide range of degree. And it takes time for the organic structure of our nervous system and our body and our mind and our heart to begin to unwind and realign with our true nature. So the access to presence, as we call it, can be instant. But how opening to that and becoming more intimate with it and allowing it to heal you and guide you in your life, that's a lifelong journey. And in that journey, we continually learn and grow and evolve as human beings, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So you utilize this profound resource of your so-called true nature to really allow you to have the completion of your human experience here. For those who have not been on retreat with me before, I just want to say a little bit about the schedule, which I forgot to bring, but I think I know it for tomorrow morning. Anyway, we have periods of time in the morning. We have a meditation. I think it starts at 7:15. Is that right? Please be here. And I know you may be tired from traveling or jet lagged and all that. You'll have plenty of time, your own time, on this retreat when you can sleep, you can nap, you can catch up if you need that. Tonight you might be kind of fried and it might be a little hard to be here. That's okay. Just hang in there. Hang in there. And please do just try to be here, even if you're exhausted. And as I've said to many people over the years, if you need to, during sitting, if sitting is difficult or you're not used to it, if you need to, go and stand in the back of the room and do a standing meditation. Or if your back has problems or issues and it's really challenging, feel free to find a space somewhere in the back where you can lie down if you need to. So take care of yourself. And the segments we're together here will be comprised of sitting silently, usually at the beginning, for some period of time. I don't know how long, 20 minutes, 30, 40, whatever feels right. And then I will usually give some talk. And then I'll have the dialogue section where you are welcome to come up and work with me or sit with me, whatever your need is or whatever you're looking for. Even if you are new to meditation and would like support even just with your practice, you are more than welcome to come up and ask those kinds of questions. I'm more than happy to work with you in how you're working with your meditation practice. You've probably heard many times in many ways the teachings that talk about non-doing, that there's no effort required or something like that. And I think for in our own human conditioning, to begin to learn how to get out of the way of that natural alignment of our being is an extraordinarily tricky learning process. It gets more and more and more subtle how we're in the way. And if you ask, well, how do I get out of the way? Because egos, as they are designed, are basically in the way. That's really their nature, is to get what they want, get what they need. That's what they do. And they're always orienting that way. That's just their function. So to begin to learn how to let it do it, the way that works is to notice the doer. Notice that tension of trying, of pushing, of pulling, of struggling, of trying to figure it out. That resistance, that essence of what we call suffering. And amazingly, that's all you have to notice. And add in that to the recipe, infinite patience. Because what you want to happen, whatever that is not necessarily going to happen when you want it or how you think it should happen. And so if your preconceptions or your projections or your expectations are the filter you're seeing this retreat through, you will have a hard time. And you will be very unhappy and unfulfilled. Guaranteed. Unless you're one of the lucky ones who just has some instant enlightenment and is in complete bliss and floating off the... And be sure you don't come up and tell us. No. Just kidding. So by noticing the unconscious efforting, the effortless non-doer begins to evolve. And that's where trust lives. Trust is not, oh, I better be trusting. I better see if I can develop the attitude of trusting. Because guess what? Egos don't really trust. I don't think so. Do you? Not really. There's always something being held back. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see, right? Yeah. But when we talk about trust, or we talk about unconditional love, or we talk about peace, we're really describing the qualities of our true nature. Those are descriptions of awakened consciousness, awakened being. So you can't really understand Zen teaching unless you're enlightened. So what's the point of having it? That's a good question. To bug the heck out of you, right? Truth is, when you meet people who are radiant and who have evolved as beings, and you feel something and you're moved by them, there is something that's very inspiring within you, because your deepest nature knows that is also what you are. And if you haven't realized it yet, and it's your time, that is what you will want. And that is why you are here. So I just want to welcome you. I want to welcome all the people who I know for decades who are here, and those of you who I'm just meeting for the first time or have just recently met. I want to welcome you. This is like a home to me, and I love being here. I couldn't wait to get here. I only had 400,000 things to do before I got here. In fact, I was telling Lisa, I thought, we should really get somebody to film me with all the 10,000 things I have to do, and then have a fast forward film of it, and then just sitting in lotus or something in some mudra, at the end. Anyway, I just want to tell you how much I honor you and am moved by your profound commitment and effort to find the truth and to learn from that truth and to realize it. So it's a great privilege to be here with you, and I'm just so grateful that we can have this few days together, which surprisingly can be a very potent, beautiful, transformative time. And what most people find at the end is that it's gone very quickly. So that's another reason to remind yourself to return. Just gently. Don't beat yourself up about it. Or if you are beating yourself up about it, practice some forgiveness. Some of us just were trained by the way we were brought up to be very, very hard on ourselves. And we think that's just normal. I mean, I did. And it took me a long time. Probably ironically, the hardest thing I ever had to learn, I think, on the path was to be gentle with myself. Because I really thought the harder I pushed, the farther I'd get and the faster I'd get there. And I was wrong. But hey, listen, if you need to push yourself, okay, then you will. I did, and I am, fairly crippled as a result of it, but I made it to here. We learn the hard way. People want to have the answers. We want to have the answers because we want the shortcut. Somebody once said the shortcut is hard work. And I think it's the right attitude. So notice the attitude that you're in here with. Very important to work with your attitude. That may be more important than anything, actually. So it isn't just plugging into the groovy energy that's here, if you can tune into that. And that's great, let's face it. And if you are tuned into it, by all means, dive in completely. Yeah. That just knocked the train of thought right out of my brain. So, and how beautiful that so many of you are tuning in and able to. It's gorgeous. It's the true ambrosia, the true nectar. But on a human level, learning it's hard. There are no answers, but there are really, really good questions. So ask your questions within yourself, within your deep, vast being. Ask your questions, whatever they are. Ask for whatever you need deeply within yourself. Ask for whatever help you need deeply within yourself. Honor however it is for you. And by all means, let go of comparing yourself to others. Let go of comparing your path to some glorified path, which is, or some fantasy path that you've heard about or someone has told you about. That's not helpful. You have to find your way. Just like whoever that was found their way. And there is only your way. And you don't even know what it is. Except each moment by moment, you discover the next step. Even when you don't know what the next step is, eventually that step will happen. So the true knowing, the true answers come from the mystery of not knowing. So cultivate the attitude of an open mind. And if you think you know what's happening, even now, feel free as much as you need to question your own beliefs, question your own conclusions, Question your own judgments. Question your own projections. And notice how questioning can actually begin to loosen the tight grip of your mind so it becomes more and more supple, more and more open, and a lot more fun. Believe it or not, you can enjoy yourself here. Find the joy in the little things. The silence. How often do you actually experience silence with a group of people? How often do you get to be with others where you don't have to put on your drag, your costume? The truth will set you free, not your attempt to be free. Even the limited truth of your suffering, even the limited truth of your condition, when it's honestly recognized and expressed within you, will free you of a certain amount of burden. So be honest and open with yourself in your experience. Very important. Not just, well, I'm just going to tune into presence and I'm going to transcend all of my human pain. Many people try that approach and are even encouraged to do that, like somehow that works. It works, sort of. But if you really want to be integrated, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because we're also a human being. We're not just radiant, infinite light. We are that. And all of our human nature is made of that, for sure. But we're still here. We're still on this planet. And we still have this life to live, however it unfolds for us. So as you learn to do what I call human work, your spiritual nature will naturally evolve and flourish. And it's a beautiful process. And I have been doing this for a long time, and I've seen so many people become free and and happy, where before they were not. And it's an incredible journey. So, again, I want to thank you all for being here and really honor yourself and give yourself appreciation for all the hard work that you have done to be who you are. Yeah, see how that opens and softens the space? Beautiful. So let's sit a little bit in silence now, and then I'll open it up for some dialogue work, and we'll continue our evening together. A couple of other sort of practice points I'd like to share right now before we start our dialogue is that it's really important to frame the perspective, the attitude you have when someone comes up here and works. You may think someone's coming up here and working. And that's one perspective to have. And you may listen to them and hear them and think, well, I can't relate to anything they're saying, and I don't know, why are they jabbering on, and whatever you're thinking. But that's a pretty disconnected place to be. And it might even be irritating and aggravating because someone's starting to release something, emotions, and like you're uncomfortable with it. So what I'd recommend when someone comes up is to also be up here and realize that you are up here, always. That the energy that's working, so-called with this other, is what's working with everyone simultaneously. So if what they're sharing is something you aren't comfortable listening to, don't put your attention on the words in the interaction, but rather put the attention on what's going on in your own nervous system, in your own energetic field, in your own emotional body. So you are also, in a sense, being worked with. Okay? Otherwise, and that will really help the whole space and your own experience greatly, to work with that and explore that. And don't just think, oh, well, now they're just doing some kind of emotional release work. Because that's a byproduct of what we do here. It is not the primary focus. It's part of what happens when we begin to tune in and become still and allow healing to happen. The other thing I'd like to encourage you to explore and work with, if you're not familiar with it, is your posture. Now, I don't mean sit up straight. What I mean is work with micro adjustments of how your nervous system, how your structure is actually balanced on whatever you're sitting on or however you're sitting. And even in a chair, if you want more cushions or whatever to help adjust your height or where you are, I often adjust, where I am on my sit bones, my alignment of my lumbar vertebrae and so forth. And I have this other little drummer's throne that I sit on when we're meditating. Work with that, and work with as well, pardon me, stillness. It's very easy to, pardon me, to move in subtle ways. That's actually a subtle avoidance of a deeper opening trying to happen in your being, in your energetic system. That's why in many yogic and Zen training, meditation training, stillness is a very important element. It's not a restriction in the sense that you're holding yourself back. That's not what it is. It's that certain energies don't move and certain blockages don't open if you're moving. The energy can't get through. So to sit still begins to develop a certain kind of energetic strength that begins to open channels. Now be careful with expectation. In other words, don't think, okay, well now I have this pain in my neck or in my shoulder, I'm going to sit real still so it'll open up. It may actually get more. The pain may build, but that also might be it opening. So be very careful to not tell yourself or not believe, oh, it's getting worse now. It may be getting more intense, but it actually might be in the process of opening. And I've had countless experiences like that in long meditation retreats, and where extraordinary kind of physical difficulty, tension literally evaporated. It's really pretty amazing. So you need to sort of negotiate when sitting is actually needs an adjustment because it's too much, it's your body can't quite handle it, and when what's happening is an actual healing process that you want to be profoundly still and available for. So you can start to experiment, play with it, and see how it goes. You can't necessarily know which way it's going. You just have to find out by trial and error and experimentation. So I just want to offer those as just a few guidelines at the beginning here. Things you can begin to work with in your inner sitting meditation practice. Okay, great. So does anybody feel like they would like to come up right now and would like some help? Ian, come on up.
It's not happening as much now, but just for the past hour, I felt like blown back in my chair. Like a huge fan has just been...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And there have been openings and releases and then periods where they get in the way a little bit, but then the releases almost make it more intense.
Mm-hmm.
And more intense, and in the Qigong sitting, lines of energy, it makes it even more.
Mm-hmm. Even as you said that,
yeah,
you got more connected to the whole space. Here, you feel a difference.
Yeah.
And for people who are tuned in right now, which I encourage you to be, it's facilitating transmission, so to speak, for everyone. So that's why I was trying to encourage people to really be up here, to realize that they're connected to the hub of this wheel that's here. Everyone is. That's it. Good. So the other thing to say, Ian, is that, when you have, and this is true for everyone, when you have experiences that are openings, awakenings, whatever you want to call them, shifts, we often look for those or try to re-experience certain kind of amplitudes that happen at times, higher amplitudes that happen. But those are just openings. And once we've gone through, then there's an integration and we try to go back, but it's like you've already gone through a doorway. You're in a new pasture. You don't go back to the same doorway.
Yeah.
The mind has this idea about it that actually
it won't keep happening if it's not that intense. Yeah.
Yeah, the blowback was an opening, was a shifting, and now you're here. And often because the conscious mind is usually so in the way, that's why Zen mind is beginner's mind. It's an open mind, does not have a preconception about what's happening ever. That's it. So that you're in the openness. Otherwise, you're trying to regain or hold on to a state, a certain high, a certain bliss, a certain experience. And that's actually a real, that's a hang-up that you can experience over and over and over and over and over again for years until you get it, that's not what's really happening. That's a misunderstanding. There you go. See? Feel the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So now this is what I talked about in the talk. What's happening now is that your personal will is aligning with thy will. And that's really what the Buddha meant by the middle way, that interface of the relative and the absolute. That's what we're really looking for.
And it's the frustrating thing is it's like so subtle.
It is.
And it's so much easier to notice the side effects of and that's kind of
right. But this is where making conclusions really can get in the way. See, what really shows you the truth is you see how your heart's opening right now? But you're not doing that. It's doing it. And what's happening with you, and this has really been happening for as long as I've known you, is that you are learning really how to let it do it. You're really learning to trust it. And part of what's dropping away are your conclusions about it or your ideas about it. The description of what's happening in your experience is very helpful to say, just like you did when you came up. And then you can notice where there's holding, where there's attachment. Because wherever there's holding, attachment, and conclusions, that's what creates and is the nature of separate identity. Okay? Those are the constructs of our personal self. They're functional, they're useful, but they're not what we really are. Okay? But as long as you begin to align with that, with thy will, so to speak, then you're not caught in that, and you begin to naturally open as you are. And then you're not looking to recreate a certain bliss, high, whatever. People are looking for states. I mean, I see this all the time. It's like, state junkies.
Yeah, I think like a more
They want to be
personal
open-hearted
description
and
of
loving
it
all the time, so
is
they
like
learn the practice.
wanting to continue the clearing,
Well,
wanting to keep.
Well, yes, but that's happening. And it's okay to want that and express it and have that intention, of course. Absolutely. See, there's something that's becoming very pure in your intention where it almost automatically facilitates it, manifests it, but not through personal will. That's not what's doing it. This is the most amazing part of what we're doing that I find the most fascinating right now in the discovery of what this is and the ongoing learning process of this.
I want to kind of mention another thing, like difficulty interfacing this, is that right now it seems a little bit mutually exclusive. It seems like if I tune in, that I'm not paying attention to the stuff that wants to come up. I don't know. I know that sounds like ludicrous.
No,
but
it doesn't at all.
But
I totally understand what you're saying. No. This is really a good thing to say. Look, go ahead.
No, yeah, and that if I pay attention to this stuff that comes up, that tuning in will be easier, and that's a belief for sure. But that's what the experience is.
Maybe not. Maybe it depends on...
It seems like I'm neglecting the other stuff by tuning in.
I understand.
Okay. That's all.
Notice the worry about that, the concern about it. See? Now that's what's opening you. So that's what's true right now. Not that whether or not you are or aren't neglecting it. Or whether because you're not paying attention, it's not coming up. That's not important. What's important is that you're worried that somehow you're interfering with it. That's really what's happening right now. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
And you notice how when we're recognizing that, more opening happens?
Mm-hmm.
See? Yeah. I mean, there are patterns that will literally stop and disappear without any awareness of them at all, just by what happened here. So we can't, we're not orchestrating this. Good. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You see, it's... Look, if something needs to come up, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
And if it's not coming up right now, okay, whatever.
No, yeah, there's...
Don't worry about it, right?
Nothing.
No, I actually find that there are people have actually, believe this or not, a very, very hard time getting used to being happy. Because they're used to a tight shoe that's uncomfortable, called themselves. And they go, something's wrong, nothing's bothering me. It's pretty wild. When that happens, I mean.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, listen, if you want to go diving for, stuff, Go ahead. There's no end to it. I have found that you don't need to go looking for it. It will come up all by itself. Hey, whenever you're reactive, perfect opportunity. Are you ever reactive?
No, I'm perfect. No, I'm kidding. No.
You'll have to go back to the remedial
Just
class.
like
This is only for the higher level is for imperfect people.
Okay. Part of me is also like, shit, this is just here, first question, first night. No, like, no, I know.
What? Like
it's
now you're not going to get another chance because there's 60 people now ahead of you.
No, but that
Maybe we'll do a lot. I don't know.
I'm kidding.
Don't worry about that. Actually, it's a beautiful interaction, and I think it's probably helping a lot of people already. See, there's some motion there, isn't there? See, like I told you, it's going to come up all by itself. We're human. We have feelings. And they come up when they come up. And hopefully we're available in our own person that they do come up. Many of us, as you know, are so conditioned that we have a lot of protective sort of valves that are shut that don't let it come up. So in this environment, those valves begin to be loosened and lubricated and opened so that stuff will come up. So. Do you need any reassurance right now? Because from my being with you right now, my sense is that the guidance system is pretty well aligned. Humming along.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Ian. Feelings come when they do. And it's a beautiful thing that we are also feeling sentient beings. That's what sentient is, feeling. It's our nature, human nature. And I think one of the benefits of this practice that we're doing is that we can become fully human and really available for our own heart, for the hearts of others, for what we long for, which is to have connection. That's what we long for as human beings, is to have connection. So, it's one of the great gifts that comes from this practice. Not just, groovy enlightenment. That's nice. Overrated, but it's nice. But to really be able to be human and connect, that's fabulous.